Hello everybody, Psych with Psych's Rec Gran Turismo 6. Oh my goodness, what a game. I actually just recently completed it 100%, say about 20 hours ago. And quite an accomplishment, I gotta say. Dare I say, I would put this in my top 10, top 5 even video game accomplishments, 100%ing this game, because oh my goodness, it's so hard. And I'm not exactly like a racing buff per se, or at least I wasn't when I started playing this game. Not to brag or anything, but I think I picked up a few skills, here and there. In the middle of playing this game, I got not bored, but kind of wanted to play something else, so I jumped into playing Banjo-Kazooie recently. And oh my goodness, that game is so easy after playing this. It made me laugh. It really did. It was so funny just to go from a game like this, which takes such perfection and precision, and oh, it's so so tight and so wonderful. And then jumping into something like Banjo-Kazooie, which is A, a platformer, and B, comparably much easier. It was just such a night and day shift. It was funny. I found it funny. Anyways, I'll get into the main part of the game and this, that, and the other, but first I gotta explain the wreck of this game. 1967 Chevrolet El Camino SS 357, I believe it is. Regardless, it's a 67 El Camino, which is kind of a random choice for a few reasons. First off, this is the first time, and so far the only time, that any Gran Turismo game has featured any wreck vehicle, an El Camino, a Rancho, or otherwise. They should have used a Ranchero in comparison to Forza, which uses El Camino, 1970 El Camino SS, or no, 1970 El Camino, sometimes SS, sometimes not, in all of its games. So this game, introducing an El Camino or a wreck style vehicle into its game library, should have done a Ranchero just for that reason. Because the biggest competition to Gran Turismo is Forza and vice versa. So, but it's kind of random. A 67 El Camino. I think it looks great, and as you can see, this is my racing spec heavily modified El Camino. It's got the carbon fiber wing on the rear bed cover. It's got a carbon fiber hood. It's got racing tires, and then a host of other things that I'll explain. I guess I can explain that right now. So there's just kind of like your little blah blah blahs. So you have just kind of your home stat, like blah blahs here, your garage where you keep all your vehicles, your main stats. I gotta show it off. 100% get here. Is that? How about there you go? I'll zoom in for you. Look at that. 100% game completion, which means I literally did everything. So I'm proud of that. This is online stuff. Nobody cares. This is arcade mode. This is, if you just kind of want to goof around on a track with a vehicle, you can do it this, or you can do local multiplayer. This is your main objectives of this game, kind of like the main point, your career. And they're all kind of set up similar. Each of these 6 right here are kind of set up with the same types of challenges. You have your main driving challenges, which are, star events. Just for completing the event, you get 1 star. For completing it in at least 3rd place, you get a 2nd star. And if you complete it in 1st place, then you get 3 stars. So you can get 3 stars per race. And certain ones that are circuits where you have to do all 5 races in a row in order to complete that cup, then you can, just move on into each individual race. But for things like these ones, it's literally just each individual race. So you got that. Each class, you can unlock vehicles in different ways. So for each class, you unlock a vehicle for getting half of the stars of the class, and then you get another vehicle for getting all the stars of the class. You have things like mission races, which are just kind of little challenges. They're pretty short, like usually somewhere within the 30, 40, 50 second range, where you have to get from point A to point B in a set amount of time. And you have opponent vehicles that you drive against. You cannot leave the track, and you cannot bump into your opponents. And you have to use that to get to beat like the top time, basically. And if you do all of them on Gold Cup, then you unlock a vehicle. Is this? No, it's... Then you have coffee break challenges, which are very just kind of simple, basic, kind of like party type games. So you have drift challenges to get X amount of drift meters in a course. You have things like cone challenges, which most of them are actually you have to hit over X amount of cones in X amount of time. But this particular one, you actually have to avoid obstacles and complete a lap around a track in any given amount of time. There's also eco challenges where you only have 1 liter of fuel and you have to get as far as you can in a track with only that amount of fuel. So obviously if you run out, then it's the end of the challenge. So when I was initially playing this game, I thought that the coffee break challenges were like some of the most difficult parts of this game. Turns out, aside from all of these, coffee break challenges are like the easiest thing in this game. The rest of these are pretty... Well, okay, one make races are actually pretty simple as well. You don't get any vehicles for beating coffee break challenges. It's just for fun, and also to get 100% completion. One make races are... You have to have that particular model of vehicle. So in this one, you can only use the Lamborghini Aventador. In this one, only the Ferrari 458. And for this one, only Nissan GTRs. Now for these two, like literally there's only one Aventador in this game, so, and same deal with this, there's only one 458. But for this one, there's quite a few GTRs in this game. I'd say like 12, 13 or so. So you can choose any one of them, so long as it's not DLC, because again, these challenges were put into the game before the release of DLC events, or DLC vehicles, so you have to keep that in mind. You don't get anything aside from credits if you beat these, but again, I think it's for 100% completion. And then license tests are required to move on to the next class. You have to complete all of them to at least bronze standard, and if you do that, you unlock a vehicle, and then if you complete all of them to gold standard, then you get another vehicle. And these are basically the exact same as mission races, except you don't fight against other opponent vehicles. It's literally just you and a track, point A to point B in X amount of time. So a little bit more simple, except for this one, which is absolutely terrible, and I hate it. So that's kind of the breakdown of all the different types of events per cup, or per class. Each class is more or less the same, except for like the first one and the last one, because they're more special. I gotta say, where is it? Gran Turismo NASCAR Cup. The main career events that you can earn stars in really are the easiest events of the game, except for this event right here, the Daytona 5-lap NASCAR event. It is so hard. It's unbelievably hard, which is really weird because it's the only time in the entire game that Slipstream Turbo is necessary to complete the mission. Literally every other event in this game does not require that to beat it. But this one, for some reason, is so hard. I'm sorry, I had to say that out loud. It was like therapeutic. Ugh. And then you have your Red Bull X challenges, which use specialty Red Bull racing vehicles. So you have like Red Bull karts, like go-karts, like Mario Kart, and which go all the way to juniors and the standard style, and then the Sebastian Vettel. I'm assuming it's X. I don't think it's 10. So Sebastian Vettel X. It's not like Mitsubishi Lancer. Mitsubishi Lancer Evo X. But if you complete all of these to at least bronze standard, you get a vehicle. But obviously I went above and beyond, so you can get a Red Bull kart for this, a Red Bull X 2014 Junior for this, 2014 Standard for this, and a 2014 fan car for these ones. Your dealership. I tried so hard to find this information, and there's just no information on this, but as you can see, there are quite a lot of vehicle manufacturers in this game. Not even individual models of vehicles, manufacturers that are split into 3 different categories: European, North American, and Asia/Pacific region. I tried looking this up to find specifically the number or what the record is. I couldn't find anything, but I feel confident that it would be very difficult for any other video game to beat this. I feel like this game holds the record for the most playable vehicles in any video game. Off the top of my head, I believe the number is 1,275 different playable vehicles in this game, after all the update DLC vehicles were added. So that's quite a lot. And then you can tell which categories have the DLC ones because they'll say new in it. Except I know for a fact Toyota does, but for some reason it doesn't say new. Just to show a few off that are very special, this thing right here, Mario Andretti's 1948 Hudson Commodore, the first ever racing vehicle that he built, I believe with his brother back in the early 50s to begin their racing careers. So it's cool, and it's one of the oldest vehicles in this game. I believe second oldest, only behind some like specialty Audi racing vehicle. Unfortunately, stat-wise, there's no reason to use it. I hate to say it, but there really is no reason to use it. It looks cool, but, and it's historic because it's actually based off of like a specific vehicle. All these vehicles are based off of real world vehicles, but there's only a handful that are based off of like like celebrity vehicles, if you will. Celebrities vehicles. So you got this thing, which is a DLC vehicle, as well as Jay Leno added a few vehicles that he's known for into the mix, including his infamous, I can't remember the name, like Blasterstone thing. They call it the tank car in this game. Interesting fact, this vehicle is actually the heaviest vehicle of any Gran Turismo game ever. It doesn't say, but I believe it's 3,500 kilograms. Which again, heaviest vehicle of any Gran Turismo game. And I think most people that are kind of casual fans, or not fans, but like casually know who Jay Leno is, they would recognize this vehicle. He's probably most infamous for this, but for people that know Jay Leno as a car enthusiast, probably appreciate this a lot more. It is his 1,067 horsepower, I think, 1966 Oldsmobile Tornado. Kind of like an infamous vehicle that's associated with Jay Leno. Also, interesting fact, this is the only Oldsmobile in this game. So if it weren't for the fact that Jay Leno added his vehicle into this game, then this game would not have Oldsmobiles. But yeah, 1,067 horsepower, 66 Tornado. So that's, I felt those were worthy to show off. I feel like they were the most special just because, again, they're celebrity vehicles. Recommended cars, just, you know, for any individual race or types of race, classes of race, and that's their nature. Car search, you can just look up any car based on like price, prestige, performance. This game calls its performance points PP, which is also what Dead Rising calls its prestige points. So I just need to call it performance. just performance. Just like in Dead Rising, I just call it prestige, so we'll just call it performance. So that nature. And then Vision GT is a bunch of concept vehicles that were designed basically specifically for this game. So a lot of these just kind of specialty, very futuristic like concept vehicles that you would see at car shows. This one right here, the Mercedes-Benz AMG. I'm not sure about that, but this one's actually free. It's a gift that you can get. This can literally be the second vehicle that you get in this game, and it's very very great performance very early in the game. Almost too good a performance to the point where you almost can't use it for a lot of early game events. So And then this right here, the SRT Tomahawk X, is actually the fastest vehicle of any Gran Turismo game. It can reach a top speed of 378 miles per hour, which is interesting because A, it's nowhere near the most expensive vehicle in the game, and B, it's not the highest performance points vehicle of this game. So it's kind of weird. It's actually relatively cheap. It's only 1 million credits, considering that some vehicles in this game are 20 million credits, and there's 5 of those in this game. 5 20 million credit vehicles in this game. This just kind of seems like a random inclusion, but there's not a single event that you can use this for, so it's more just for kafutzing around, having a time. Anyways, tuning parts and custom parts and all these sort of just kind of like... So tuning parts you can add to your vehicle. So you can add like different tires, which come into play more so for specific events, but generally the racing tires are the best. Suspension, you can add, to your suspension. Drivetrain, add your drivetrain. Power makes your vehicle go faster, as well as raises your performance limit. And then body is basically weight reduction. So classes of weight reduction would normally be like, removing interior panels of your vehicle, removing back seats, any other just kind of like heavy things like that. Hudson Commodore, you notice, had no fenders and like half a roof and no front end. That would be considered weight reduction. And then also carbon fiber hoods and lightweight glass and things of that nature, which lowers the weight and raises the performance. So most vehicles you can do this with. Some are, set in the tuned parts that come with it, so you can't change them. Custom parts, again, it's more specific, more so for just regular street variety vehicles that you would see on the roads, where you can add things like spoilers, or wings, I guess they're called, front body attachments, flat floor attachments, and other random assorted things that you can put onto different vehicles. It's purely visual, and it's very basic, more realistic, kind of like how Midnight Club 3 really ramped it up to be almost fantastical with its vehicle customization. This game, much more realistic, much more subtle, very refreshing. Wheels is just different rims, and then gauges only really matters if you're going to be playing from the cockpit view, which I never do. So, completely unnecessary. Pit service, I've actually never used this. It's supposed to be things like get your oil changed and improve your body rigidity and overhaul your engine. Never use this. Paint, you can buy different paints for your vehicles. Ones that don't naturally come in the selection of paints that can come with that vehicle. So you can paint your vehicle a color that doesn't naturally come with it. It just costs money. And then racing gear is just racing suits. One thing I wish they would have done is, since they had Jay Leno vehicles in this game, one of the racing attires should have been denim jeans, denim shirt, like brown boots, and I guess, leave the helmet as is, but they should have had like a Jay Leno attire. I think that would have been awesome. And then these 4 things right here are special events that are special. I think this one is not DLC. I think. I'm not sure. The lunar exploration, where you actually get to drive around in sections of the actual moon in an actual moon rover, and with actual moon gravity. So it's a lot slower, and it's a lot more tense because any small bump will just instantly send your rover flying around. The Goodwood Festival of Speed is just a 1.18 mile, I think, maybe 1.8. It's a little uphill climb. You can do in a variety of vehicles. The Ayrton Senna tribute is in tribute to one of the often referred to greatest race car drivers of all time. Historic, infamous in the realm of race car driving. And then the Sierra Time Rally is a loop around a specific track that's set around a lake. it's a real place in Monaco, I believe. So it's based around an actual event that goes on in Monaco. Oh, goodness. I think I've discussed everything that I want to, so I'll go ahead and, you know, actually do something. Show off this vehicle and all its power. I have to find... There we go. Do this, El Camino. Yeah, 396. My bad. What did I say? 375? So, what was I gonna say? Actually, I have a list of things right here. Let's see what we got. Okay, so first things first, my history with the Gran Turismo series. I do have slight history with the Gran Turismo series, and before I get into that, I want to say, and I know it's goofy and embarrassing or whatever, but I gotta say, this game, before I started playing it, I was intimidated. I really was. This game kind of like made me nervous because of how intense it is. Also, bam, the hidden blue tires. I just got a trophy. That's a trophy in this game, hitting those tires on this particular track. Mount Panorama, I believe it is. Yeah. Howling. Some behind. The thing is with these older vehicles, they take a lot more... You have to brake a lot sooner and adjust with it. And the turning's pretty good, and it doesn't, you know, oversteer a lot. So it definitely requires a light touch, and it's very drifty, as is the case with most wreck-style vehicles in video games. So, what was I gonna say? Oh, this game intimidated me. It really did, just because, like, before playing this game, I wasn't too into racing games. Very, very select ones. They kind of had to have a fancy gimmick, like Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, Midnight Club 3, what are some other good ones? Dirt Showdown, but that was more so because it was a Demolition Derby game. So, to jump from that very kind of goofy, gimmicky games to just like a super hardcore... It's not even a racing game, it's a driving simulator. It says so right on the box art. The ultimate driving simulator. So to jump from that to this, it intimidated me. It made me go like, well, I'm not a race car game fan, so it's gonna be very, very difficult for me to complete this 100%. And don't get me wrong, it was, but I did it anyways because it's not that I am a driving, you know, master, or that I have high driving game skills or anything like that. It's because I'm a gamer and I used my gaming prowess to beat this game. So that's another reason why I take pride in 100%ing this game, because I did it as a gamer, not so much a vehicle enthusiast or a racing, driving, game enthusiast, whatever you want to call it as. But anyways, my history with the Gran Turismo series, oh goodness, clunk. When I was younger, I can't remember specifically how old, I got a PlayStation 2 bundle for my birthday in 2003, 2004, it's one of the two. And it was like an ultimate bundle. It came with a PlayStation 2 the super small one, which I still have to this day, 2 controllers, 2 memory cards. One is transparent blue and one is transparent red. I sold the red one, but I still have the blue one. And it came with 2 games. Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, which I played a little bit just because I only had 2 games for my PlayStation 2 at the time, so it's kind of like if I wasn't playing the other game, then, you know, I'd fool around in it. But at that time, Gran Turismo 3 intimidated me, so I was kind of like, ugh, I don't know about this. Because again, I was even less interested in racing games then than I am now. And also, considering that the other game that came with it was Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, yeah, Gran Turismo 3 did not get a lot of loving, let's just put it that way. And I sold it relatively quickly. So I technically have some Gran Turismo experience, but it's not a lot. So before going into this game, I didn't have a lot of like pro-style racing driving game experience. But what's really nice, I very much appreciate the skills that I picked up from this game, because I truly feel like since I've mastered this game, I can dominate any racing game. I'm not saying this is the most difficult racing game that's ever been made. I don't know that for a fact, but I feel very confident with how I've learned to play racing games, which is a skill that I picked up when not Gran Turismo, Midnight Club 3 was another one of those kind of catalyst deals for me. So, but this game just took it to a whole new level, and not only that, but it kind of made me feel like I could be better at just video games in general. Like I said about Banjo-Kazooie, it really put things into perspective, and it was very funny, I thought. Yeah, peel out. Peeling hard. Let's go to a different level. So I figure this is as appropriate as any. I said in the description of one of my update videos, and I'll just say it out loud now because it's, most relevant. Do this one. I want to do... Where are you at? Circuit de Roma. I said that... Oh, shoot. Hey, you know what? Yeah. Number of laps 2? Yeah, we'll do that. I'll do a race. I didn't intend to, but you know what? Let's do this anyways. I said that there would be no Forza in this list. The reason being, there's two main reasons. One is there are 7 games in the Forza series that have an El Camino in it. Only 2 of them are on a system that I own, the Xbox 360. The other 5 are on the Xbox One that I do not have and honestly have no desire to own. Also, oh my goodness, we're racing in Rome. It's the Colosseum. It's so intense. So that's the first reason why there's no Forza. The second reason being, each game in the Forza series features the same type of wreck. 1970 El Camino SS 454. I did it again. I didn't mean to. I mean to say 1970 Chevrolet El Camino 454. Some games feature an SS model, some games feature just a standard model, but each one, it's the same, and it's just like, 7 games to put that much effort into, especially for a system that I don't own and don't really care about. Like, if I have the money to just spend, or if somebody's willing to loan me an Xbox One, I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying like somebody in the real world. If somebody's willing to loan me an Xbox One and all those games for that amount of time that it would take me to get like a proper, experience of all those games just to make Rec Series videos of, then maybe. Or like if I win the lottery and I have money to spend on things like an Xbox One that I don't really want to, then maybe. But as it stands right now, it's not in my priorities. So, oh well, it is what it is, I guess. It is. Just show that off. Well, I'll go to the final track that I want to show off because it's actually kind of significant throughout the entire Gran Turismo series. Time trial this time. Original courses. Now I have to find it. Trial Mountain Circuit. This level appears in every main installment of the Gran Turismo series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Sport, I think. So none of the little random spin-offs. Also, I found this out very recently. There's a Gran Turismo style game that features motorcycles. It's called like Trophy Trials. So It's for the PlayStation 2, and it did not get very great reviews, so, you know, if you're super intent on trying it out, go for it. I'm not. But yeah, this level has appeared in every main installment of the Gran Turismo series, and it actually features some kind of interesting Easter eggs, if you will. So I'll use this first lap to show off where those are. It's a relatively short track, so get to the exciting stuff pretty quickly. Oh, I got some airtime there. Oh goodness. Oh, I'm so smooth. Smooth McGroove. Alrighty, the first of the whatchamacallits, Easter eggs, is that in this tree branch right above me. There we go. You can see right there's a monkey! Monkey, monkey, chew the batter, make a cake of bitter batter. Monkey, monkey, chew the butter, make a cake of bitter batter. That's what it is. I don't even remember where that's from. Whose line, I think? I don't even think I quoted it properly, but it's something along that line. Monkey, monkey, chew the butter, bake a cake of bitter batter. Bake a cake with bitter batter. Something, something, zebra, TMZ. Here's for you. I've got an expose for you. I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. Here's the second of the two Easter eggs. Is this kind of like that big spindle right there is a giant withered pine tree or evergreen tree? I don't remember, but that's a point of some significance. It looks like a giant tower. You might not be able to tell from the video recording, but that thing's actually like way off in the distance, so it's actually like, you know, special. And then the third of... Oh yeah, so good. The third of the Easter eggs, I'm actually going to switch into first person here for this one. There's a lake right on the other side of this fence. I always kind of have trouble finding this thing, so give me a moment. There we go, rooftop view. Maybe that'll help. You'll probably not be able to tell at all, but there's actually the infamous Loch Ness monster right in the middle of the screen. I don't know if you can see it. I can barely see it even on my TV, so I highly doubt you can see it, but that's one of the specialty things that is in this level. And then there's also a blimp flying around. That's kind of the fourth of the Easter egg things, even though it's not really an Easter egg. Very reminiscent of Monster Truck Madness 2, where every level had a Goodyear blimp in it. So anyways, I want to end this video off by talking about what this game means to me. More, you know, obviously I mentioned that it's one of my proudest video game accomplishments, but I mean more so that this game has such a air of nostalgia for me, because as soon as I moved to my current residence in Albuquerque, I lived in 3 different kind of configurations before I ended up in my current setup, you know, my current residence with internet, and just kind of, you know, developed into my normal everyday lifestyle. I lived in hotel number 1, hotel number 2, and then my current residence before I had internet or a bed. I didn't have my bed, I had an air mattress. And then eventually, you know, this being the 4th of the configurations in my current state right now. So, after existing in the first hotel that I lived in for about 3 weeks, I had to relocate to a different hotel because all the rooms in that particular hotel that I was in got booked up before I could renew my hotel stay. So I ended up going to a hotel that... Oh, there's the blimp. I ended up going to a hotel literally across the street and a block away from the hotel that I was at. And I don't care. And this is one of the games that I began working on while I was in the second hotel that I stayed in for about 5 weeks. Because before I moved into my current residence, I was in hotels for about 2 months. So that second hotel was 5 weeks. This is one of the games I worked on. I didn't get too far. I think I got like 46% done complete with this game, which kind of sounds like a lot. It's, more than none, but it really wasn't a whole lot, especially considering how difficult this game can be. I also worked on Shadow of the Colossus. I started that game for the very first time and completed it 100%, all the trophies, all that sort of stuff, in that 5 weeks that I was at the particular hotel. I worked on this. I'm trying to remember. Oh, and I worked on what will be the next game in the Rec series that I won't spoil, but that also kind of has a nostalgic feel for me. But this is definitely one of those games that I worked on that, just this game makes me think of that time when I was living out of a hotel for 5 weeks at that particular hotel, and it was really fun. Like, I'd kind of spend my days. I'd walk to a coffee shop that was relatively close, and there was a Subway also really close, so I ate a lot of Subway. But it was just fun. Just the whole experience was really, really cool, and I'm glad I did it. And this game makes me think of that time, so I'm very appreciative of that. And I'm very appreciative of the skill that this game makes me feel like I have, even if, I always had it. It's just, something that really pushed me to bring the best out of me, so I'm very appreciative of this game. But I suppose I've rambled on for almost 40 minutes. I suppose I will end this off now. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time for the next Psych's wreck. Oh, that's a wreck. That's a wreck right there. A WRECK wreck. Oh goodness, but everything seems to be okay. Do that right there. Alrighty, see ya.